Good morning, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Keeper Eric here and Keeper Grace. And we're feeding one of our radiated tortoises some watermelon. So today we're talking about food enrichment. This is Enrichment Week, where we are showing you all the different types of enrichment we do with our animals. And food's an important enrichment we can do with them.
It's an easy one too. Everybody likes it.
Everybody likes food, yeah. The interesting thing about food as an enrichment is there's so many different ways to do it. What we're doing now is kind of offering a novel food item, something they don't typically get a lot of, and that's the watermelon. But other things you can do with food enrichment are offer the food in different ways. So something like cutting it into different sizes or presenting it differently. Another way to do food enrichment is to hide the food in something and make the animals work for it. We do a lot of that, especially with our smarter animals. I thought there was another one I was going to talk about.
On hot days.
Yeah, we talked a little bit yesterday about
Somebody brought that up yesterday.
ice treats. One of the things we can do is freeze the food or freeze it in an ice block. And then when we bring it out, the animals have to work to get through the ice to get the food. And it also cools them off a little bit on warm days. So watermelon is something they obviously like. Let me get some more out for some of these other guys. But the watermelon isn't something they typically get in their diets. Just like a lot of other animals, we watch how much sugar they get. Well, fruit has a lot of sugar and it's not real great for them to get a ton of it. But this is a good treat. And it's also nice and cool and refreshing.
Right. I know for a lot of animals, I do sometimes give them extra food when I do food enrichment, but a lot of times I'll even just use the diet that we give them every single day, and I'll present it in a different manner and use that as food enrichment.
Right. So that would be kind of like if you made pancakes, but instead of just making pancakes on the griddle, maybe you made like Mickey pancakes, or you put the bacon in the pancakes, or made bacon pancake sandwiches or something like that.
That sounds good. Now I'm hungry.
We got a ton of watermelon here. It's good.
Should we go over to see if the Galapagos eating it?
Let's go check out the Galaps.
This one's eating it too.
I think he's thinking about it. I was hoping the Galaps would come over with us.
Oh, he's munching on grass.
Yeah. Oh, look what I got. Some watermelon. You smelling it?
Wait, this one is the friendly one.
Let's see if this one works. Watermelon?
Let's see. Well, we're waiting to the Galapagos decide whether they want watermelon or not. Alexis 6 would like to know if the tortoises are boys or girls, and do we have any babies?
We do not have babies. We have 3 different types of tortoises in here. Let him go after that on his own. We have Galapagos tortoises.
That's what we're looking at now.
And those are the biggest ones. These are both boys.
Can you hear us over the geese yelling at us?
We may have to.
We might have to go back over to the other side.
So we'll never have baby Galapagos with these two because they're both boys. We have radiated tortoises, and I believe those are all girls. I'm not quite positive.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
You see, neither Eric or I take
Yeah.
care of the tortoises on a daily basis.
I thought
We
got rid of all
learn
our boys,
we
but-
I think so too. We're learning facts through these videos as well.
And then we have one Asian brown tortoise. You want to go show?
Yeah, we'll go find. Here's Storm and Norman.
His name is Norman. He's a boy,
His name is Norman. We call him Storm and Norman.
and he's an Asian brown or a Burmese mountain tortoise. So he's another one where he's the only one of his kind here at the zoo. So we're definitely not having babies.
Yeah. Lynn would also like to know how old the Galapagos are. Do you remember I looked that up yesterday?
I looked it up too this morning because I wanted to be sure. They were born in 1992, which would put them 28 years old approximately.
Yeah.
So the cool thing about Galapagos tortoises is they can live to be. Now he's eating. The Calap is now eating.
Now that we left.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying not to make you guys sick as I spin around.
Galapagos can live up to 150 years, if not longer. I think there was one that just died that was 175, they were estimating. So literally some of the oldest animals that are just starting to die after living their whole natural lives were around when Charles Darwin discovered them in the Galapagos Islands back in the 1800s. Which is pretty astounding. So these guys, they're not babies, but they're definitely young. They've got quite a ways to go before they are considered old. Galapagos tortoises are the largest types of tortoises. The second largest are called Aldabra tortoises. And obviously Galapagos tortoises come from the Galapagos Islands. And Aldabra tortoises come from islands in the Indian Ocean like the Seychelles. The Aldabra Island, obviously. They're completely different. They're both large species, but they're not related at all. And then the third largest species of tortoise is the African spur-thighed tortoise. And they don't get anywhere near as big as the Galapagos or the Aldabras. They're very large and powerful, but they are not giant, as I would say these guys are giant tortoises.
My mom asked, well, obviously these guys wouldn't necessarily be eating watermelon in the wild. What would these guys be eating in the wild?
But they would be eating similar things. They would be eating fruits. They would be eating grasses. They would be eating things like maybe some types of cacti, depending on where they are. Gosh, should we move away from the geese?
These guys are complaining about us being in here.
Let's move over. Let me grab some of the
Holy
water.
cow. All right, you enjoy your watermelon. See? Storm and Norman, he's going right for the bucket. Pam is asking if there are different types of Galapagos tortoises.
Super question, yes. Well, like many other things, scientists do not agree exactly on how many different types and what they are. Some scientists think that the Galapagos Islands from the different islands and even within like a certain island are different species. From what I gather, the way we in the zoo world do it is all of the Galapagos tortoises are one species, and then we divide those into what we call subspecies. So essentially, all the Galapagos tortoises are Galapagos tortoises, like all dogs we would say are dogs. And then the different subspecies from the different islands would be like the different breeds, like different breeds of dogs. That's what we consider a subspecies, essentially. There were probably 15 different species or subspecies, depending on who you talk to, and 5 of those have gone extinct. So there's about 10 species or subspecies left. The Galapagos are islands out in the middle of the ocean off the coast of Ecuador. And what would happen is pirates and explorers and whalers and people like that would be going by the islands, and they saw these tortoises. And the tortoises are a great food source because what you can do is put them on your ship, and they don't need a lot of food and water. They can go a year without food or water, which is pretty incredible. And so you just throw them on your ship, you put them on their back so they can't move, and then you've got a food source for you whenever you're ready to have some fresh meat. So unfortunately, between that and other people collecting them throughout the years, a lot of the species have gone extinct or declined quite a bit. So there's a neat history to them, but depending on which species you're talking about, they can be endangered.
Can you explain the difference between a tortoise and a turtle?
Hopefully I can explain. So turtle is the overall term for the shelled animals like these guys. So whether it's a sea turtle or a Galapagos or a box turtle, they're all turtles. That's the name. Tortoises are built for living on land more than turtles. If you put them in a water in a pond, in the middle of the pond, a lot of those might even drown because they can't swim very well. They'll wade in, but they're not built for swimming, so they could drown. So, excuse me. So something like a Galapagos tortoise is built for living on land, might wade into the water a little bit, but he's definitely not going to swim. That's kind of the general way to think about it. Another way I've been taught is turtles live in the water, tortoises live on the land, and terrapins are the ones you eat. So that's kind of the old...
I'm laughing at Norman.
Yeah, he's getting ahead of us. He's doing tactile enrichment.
Right,
That's
he's
tomorrow.
doing tactile enrichment.
Save it for tomorrow, Norman.
Had to go over the Jolly Ball instead of around. Danielle is asking how long the Galapagos necks are. I think we have to go back over to this guy.
Yeah, let's see.
Because this guy is the one that... Are you done with your watermelon? As soon as he's... Now you're eating a piece of bark. Let's see if he'll do it for me. Zoom out. Hi, you want some chin scratches? He's like, no, you don't have watermelon again. You want some chin scratches? One of the Galapagos likes chin scratches, the other one does not. Eric went to go get more watermelon. How many do we have? We have 2 Galapagos, 4 radiateds, and Norman.
Let me scoot that so he'll stick his head.
I don't think I have them mixed up. This is the flared. Maybe I have them mixed up, the one that likes chin scratches. Maybe
That one is very social at the moment.
The way this one was acting.
His neck's out now.
His neck is out. As I walk up and he...
Let's just scoot this back and make him work for it. There you go. So that neck's about 6 inches long
Yeah.
or so.
I'm trying to see. Are you doing it like she? There we go. Oh, I scared him. I think he's just focusing on eating his watermelon. There we go. Good boy. There you go. That's how long their neck is. Let's see. Alexis was asking how fast they can run.
They cannot run very fast at all. I'd say maybe 1 or 2 miles an hour, tops. And they can't keep that up for very long. I hardly ever see these guys move that fast either. Usually they're just very slow and deliberate. They're another one of those species that has a really slow metabolism. They don't eat a whole lot. So there's no need for them to run very fast. They're never gonna outrun a predator. They're always just gonna pull up into their shell like he was doing when we got here. So they don't need to move fast. They just kind of lumber around and find something to chew on and sit there and hang out for a little bit.
Carol was asking if he has teeth. See if I can get him to
Do not have teeth.
open his mouth again.
Yeah. They've got what we call a beak, and it's just a little bit of hardened scales around their mouth, and they take off chunks. You can see how he took off chunks of the watermelon,
Yeah.
and then they just swallow those chunks whole. So no teeth.
Oh, Pam says she remembers feeding them apples. Yeah, we can't wait until we can do encounters again.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a long time, unfortunately, but as soon as we can, we'll get people back in here and do encounters where you can feed the galops. That's fun. Should we go check out some radiateds for a minute or two?
Yeah, they're over here fighting over watermelon. It's actually...
So the radiated tortoises, they come from Madagascar, and they are highly, highly endangered. They are very prized for the pet industry because they have these really pretty shells, although ours are all kind of cracked right now. But see that guy, you can see the radiations coming out from the center of the scutes. So they have been really over collected for the pet trade, and then in some of the Asian countries they are eaten or used for medicine. So pretty much any turtle or tortoise anywhere could end up as food or medicine in Asia.
Weren't radiateds the one that made the news with that giant seizure a year or two ago?
I think so. I think
and they sent a bunch of zookeepers over to help take care of them all?
I think they found someone was trying to smuggle them out, and they were like 18,000 or some really high number like that. Of course, when you're stacking that many tortoises, you're going to have a lot of death. You're going to have a lot of them get sick. So I don't know. I never heard how many survived from that, but
yeah, I know a zookeeper I used to work with went over there. He said it was a very interesting experience.
yeah.
How much do the 3 different species you have eat, and what is their normal diet?
We feed them all together, so it's really hard to say how much each of them eats. It depends on the season. During the winter, even though the building is heated, it's a lot cooler than it would be during the summer, so they don't eat as much. We feed them a combination of vegetables and greens, lettuce, and things like that, and then they get a little bit of hay as well. Now during the summer when they come out, they do graze on the grass out here a lot. That's one of their favorite pastimes, is just grazing. We give them, I'm trying to remember.
We just increased it for this summer.
Did we? It's a couple pounds of vegetables, I think. Like a pound or two of vegetables.
Yeah.
And then like 3 or 4 pounds of lettuce.
Of lettuce.
I think that's what they get 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And then they always have access to hay.
Now, is Bianca still watching? She made it yesterday.
Yes.
Do they go completely into their shell, or is it just their head?
Let's see if we can take this one off. No?
He's like,
No, there's watermelon here. So what they can kind of do, there we go, is they can bring their head in, and then their legs will come up as far as they can, and act like
I think
blockers.
that he's kind of a big dude.
Yeah. You wanna? No.
No, they're all motivated about the watermelon. They know we won't do anything to him right now.
So the Galapagos, they have no natural predators on the islands. There's no large mammals or anything like that that'll eat an adult Galapagos tortoise. So they don't pull in quite as much. But these guys are from Madagascar, where you will have things like birds of prey and fossa. So those are potential predators of an adult radiated if they're not
A
careful.
fossa is like a, I would equate it most to like a weasel.
It's
larger than a
the
weasel.
Madagascar version of a weasel or a cat.
Yeah. It's like a combination of a weasel and a cat.
Yeah.
They're very interesting creatures.
Yeah, they're very cool. If you ever get a chance to see one.
Alexis would like to know if they like the snow.
They do not like the snow at all. And in fact, they need to be kept inside if the temperature's below 50 degrees. These are all warm weather animals. And they are what we call ectothermic, which means they don't produce their own body heat. They get their heat from the environment. So whereas we can go out in the snow, we could go out in the snow naked for a couple minutes, and as long as we get back in time, we'd be okay. But a tortoise, if they went out in the snow, it would start lowering their body temperature very rapidly because they're not producing any heat inside to help warm them up. So they would get cold very quickly and probably not recover. So if you come to the zoo when it's 45, they're still going to be locked in because it's just not warm enough outside for them to survive. One more?
No, the necklace is over there.
Oh, yeah. I'm having so much fun, I lost track of time. You guys have really great questions.
Yeah, there were some good questions today.
So thanks for watching. And remember, if you didn't see it yesterday, Grace made this necklace. It's a couple flamingo feathers inside this pendant. And it can be yours if you donate and get your name pulled in the drawing, which we'll do next Sunday morning. So just donate any amount of money through the donate button there on Facebook, and your name will be put in to win this. And have we heard from yesterday's winner yet? I think there's 2 weeks of winners we haven't heard from. So Deborah, what was her? Deborah?
Oh, I forgot her last name. Deborah Hand, that sounds right.
I believe that's her name. She won yesterday. So if you know Deborah, tell her to get in contact with us. And then the week before that, I don't think his name was Norm something.
I think it was Norman.
Norman.
As our Norman is going for the watermelon bucket.
If we don't hear from you guys in a week or two, we'll put those back in. Or we'll pull a different name. Maybe we'll pull a couple different names. But yeah, thanks for donating. But make sure you let us get in contact with us. And then tomorrow we will be back with tactile enrichment, which is toys essentially.
Yeah.
Amongst other things. So
check out to see which animal we show you that enrichment with tomorrow at 10:30.
Thanks, guys.